Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be taking a look at another really powerful weapon that the Barbarian has access to, and that is the Ramaladni's Magnum Opus. I actually have a much better one on my character right now. But this particular sword has been the center of a lot of really fun builds around the Barbarian. Because it has a way to scale your damage based on your resource. And of course, building as much resource as you can get some very interesting effects. They've changed up the Ramaladnis, they've made it more powerful, but they also added a little bit more of a kiss curse to it. And we're going to talk about that today and what potentially you can do with it. First off, they changed the implicit to 50% damage bonus, so it's a flat 50% damage bonus now instead of the critical strike that it was before. It also has 76 to 90 strength, which is pretty standard for a one-handed weapon. It has 12 to 20 maximum resource, which is going to be really useful for obviously scaling that damage bonus that it's going to give you. And on top of this, it also has 40 to 50% critical strike damage on there, which is always nice to have, and 50 to 60% overpower damage, which is also really nice to have. On top of this, we also have the effect of skills using this weapon deal 0.20 to 0.50% increased damage per point of fury you have, but you lose 10 fury every second. And this is pretty nasty now. It used to only be 2 fury every second, and now it's 10 fury every second. Which I'm trying to remember if I've got my Melted Heart of Selig around here. But, well, I do. Okay, good. We'll throw that on for the time being. I'm using the other one, Banished Lord's Talisman, but I don't think I have another Banished Lord's. Do I have another Banished Lord's? No. No, I don't. Upsetting. Well, so it won't get as high as I was getting before, but we'll play around with it anyway. Now, right now I currently have 285 maximum resource, which is a pretty large amount of maximum resource. And according to the Ramaladnis, I'm getting 0.5 increased damage per point of fury I have. And this basically allows me to have a pretty huge amount of damage bonus. Because you take my 285 and you multiply that by 0.5, and you get 142.5% times of whatever damage I'm dealing, which is a pretty nice little multiplier there that you can add on to attacks. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can do this. So I got, my skills are a little messed up here because I was doing some videos, but we should still be able to make this work. So let's go ahead and see if we can get our generation on. There we go. And utilizing the Ramaladnis, I'm going to multiply the damage of my kick. So we got what, 11 million there. It wasn't even an overpower. One of the things I actually found out is that Ramaladnis actually applies to more than just skills using this weapon. So when you read it, it says skills using this weapon specifically. So you would think that it's only the skills using the weapon, but it's not only the skills using the weapon. It's actually kind of interesting. Let's actually go and grab 2 items real quick because I need those to really show off this build, and also to show off that Ramaladnis does in fact work with kick, which is also very interesting. And basically what this is that the damage that it multiplies your attack by is such a large multiplier, and obviously stacking resource and, like, say for instance building a basic build can tremendously change the way that your build might work. And you don't have to use a basic build with this. You can use other builds as well. Like for instance, you could maybe use double swing, or you could use you know, whirlwind. You could set it up with a lot of different builds. Ramaladnis can scale basically anything as long as the ability is actually utilizing that weapon. And so I was originally under the impression that kick did not work with it. However, I have since found out that kick does in fact work with it, and it's actually kind of silly. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you not only how the damage works and how it multiplies, but I'm also going to show you that it works with kick, so that'll be fun. Let me get my character put back together. I've got so many different characters this season, and I've been sharing gear between all of them, so you know it's a struggle sometimes to, you know, get all my characters put back together for my videos. But here we go. We've got our grandfather and we've got our Dujang back on. All right. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put any old sword in the place of Ramaladni's. It doesn't really matter all that much. And we're just going to dish out some damage here. Let's see if we can get as much as we can. Unfortunately, there we go. Sometimes well, it takes a little bit to start the engine. All right, now we're going to obviously kick. As you can see, 108 million. Let's go ahead and get a couple of these kicks going, and let's see what we can get our damage numbers up to. 105 million, 161 million. As you can see, like, we're not really getting as high damage numbers as you would think, but 161 million is still decent, right? So now we're going to take Ramaladni's, put it in the place of that particular weapon, and we're going to do the same thing again, and we're going to try and get our damage numbers pumping. And trying to make sure I don't accidentally spend it on the other abilities. So 418 million there. That wasn't bad. As you can see, I went from 161 million to 418 million relatively quickly. The Ramaladni's Magnum Opus is in fact scaling kick as well, which is also very interesting. And something that I did not think was possible, considering that kick is an ability that is supposed to be, as far as I understand, not using a weapon, because it doesn't actually have a weapon tied to it. But maybe there's something going on where the last weapon that you were struck with, or something like that, might have something to do with it, and so then kick is then applying the Ramaladni's bonus. This is just something interesting that I wanted to like bring to your attention with Ramaladni's.
Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Ginger Evil Mentor here. Why bother farming when you can go to MMOEXP.com and simply purchase your items in gold? GGM would have you farm the items. What a pathetic being. Use code GEM Ginger Evil Mentor for 6% off your entire purchase. And don't tell Ginger Gaming Mentor that I was here.
But as you can clearly see, going from 161 million damage to 400 some odd million damage, and I've got actually even higher than that. I hit 500 million a couple times. The scaling resource, the damage scaling, in general, the way that this item works is going to give you a massive bump in damage for your abilities, which you do have to, obviously, number one, account for that 10 fury every second that you're going to be losing. Number two, you also have to stack resource to take advantage of it. It's not going to do you any good if you're not stacking resource. So you're going to have to get your resource up as high as you possibly can. I have 251 right now, and it could definitely be higher than that. Like, for instance, I could be utilizing a resource potion, which is a really good one for this one, because that's going to bring me up to 276, which is actually the magic number. And that way, every single time I kick, I'm going to get essentially almost the full bonus from the Banished Lord's Talisman, which is exactly what I want. I want the full bonus from the Banished Lord's Talisman. And it's actually a really freaking awesome sword. I have liked this sword ever since it first came out, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It's amazing. Okay. Let's read the flavor text, which is, without him, the wine is less sweet, the hearth less warm, and our blades less keen. Our blood brother is gone, but Pulcathos willing, we will meet again one day. Sour song for Ramaladni. I do believe that this is actually, if I remember correctly, isn't it backwards? The name is backwards. I believe it's actually a one of the characters in the... or sorry, people who were working on the game. Ramaladni, and I believe it's actually in Dalamar. I believe that's actually what it is. And I believe he was one of the developers, if I remember correctly. Just in case it pulls up something weird. Yes. Former Blizzard developer Travis Day, a.k.a. Indalamar, has passed away today. Rest in peace, the original warrior. This was 2 years ago. So this sword is actually named after him, Indalamar, which is, of course, reversed to Ramaladni's. And it's just a nice little tidbit of information I thought I'd throw in there for those of you who might be interested. Ramaladni's Magnum Opus is honestly one of the absolutely amazing weapons in this game for the Barbarian. It gets included in a lot of builds because it really does scale damage well. And also, you know, building your maximum resource high is not exactly a terrible thing. You can utilize tons of stuff this way. You can take advantage of the Melted Heart of Saleg better because you have massive amounts of resource. Obviously, having massive amounts of resource can multiply things like kick. It can multiply, obviously, even more stuff. Like you can, using the Ramaladni's Magnum Opus, everything can scale based on maximum resource, which is also really neat. And just in general, I think when you find like a really good one of these, especially one that has maybe like a greater affix on the maximum resource, specifically, you've definitely got something in the money here. Now, one thing that they did change on this, which is not really a change that's going to hurt people so much, it's just going to make it more difficult for you to find a good one, is they made it so that it rolls in the point indicators, the decimal points. So, like, it used to only roll between like zero point 0.2, zero point 0.3, zero point 0.4. Like it didn't roll like 0.21, 0.22, 0.23, 0.24, 0.25, 0.26, 0.27, 0.28, 0.29, but it does now. So you may have an even harder time finding a perfect version of this now because of all the additional rolls. Make myself cough by just like counting. But other than that, other than making it more difficult to find a perfect version, it still remains one of the best weapons, honestly, that you can put on the Barbarian. It's very, very effective if you're using the one-handed weapons. There are many ways to cancel out that 10 Fury every second. Many, many ways. The Ring of the Starlight is absolutely amazing this season. I've been using it on just about every single character. It's the ring that basically gives you huge amounts of resource back whenever you heal yourself, and combined together with a lot of different ways that you can heal yourself, it's super easy to get that resource back. You can also counter it out with a little bit of Fury per second. Like I have 6 Fury per second on my item. And you can see I'm just kind of like fighting against the grain here to keep my maximum Fury filled up because it's draining slightly faster than I'm currently regenerating it. But it could be fixed with a little bit more Fury per second. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these videos. If you want to pick up your own Ramalando's Magnum Opus, you can do so by going to Diablo 4.life. And in the tools, we got the target farming tools, and you can just simply choose Ramaladni's Magnum Opus, and it'll tell you where Ramaladni's drops from. You can also gamble it these days from the gambling meta, the Purveyor of Curiosities. So, Purveyor of Curiosities. It was changed in Season 5. But this one does drop from Grigore, the Galvanic Saint, and Lord Zir. So if you're farming a Grigore and Zir, there's a very good chance you're going to get one of these. Zir's actually pretty popular this season because of the Fractured Winter class. And looks like you can also get the Ramaladnis from him, too. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, guys and gals. Be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button on your way out. And as always, keep watching.